My girlfriend Crystal White suddenly sent me a message. She said she already has a boyfriend. Let's delete each other, thank you. I slowly typed a question mark and sent it. Then saw the legendary red exclamation mark. My girlfriend has a boyfriend. So who am I? Crystal White has been working overtime a lot lately. I felt sorry for how busy she was. Also complained because the time she spent with me was getting less and less. Just as I was about to pack the soup my aunt made to visit her at the company, I received a green text message from Crystal White. She has a boyfriend. Delete each other, thank you. When I first read this message, I found it a bit funny. This silly girl is really good at keeping her virtue. But why did she send the wrong message to me? I slowly typed a question mark and sent it alright. Turns out the boyfriend wasn't me. My girlfriend was in love with someone else. She already has a boyfriend, and I got blocked. Seeing that red exclamation mark, I, with my hot temper, didn't think twice and immediately called Crystal White. But before I could even start questioning her, I heard a man's voice on the other end. Who's this? So there really was a man by her side. Honestly, I couldn't believe my ears. Crystal White always adhered to virtue, never let other men near her besides me. Even with people of the same gender, she kept her distance. Yet today, she let a man answer her phone. Where's Crystal White? Tell her to pick up the phone. I frowned, coldly speaking into the phone. The man let out a soft laugh. Looking for Crystal White. She's busy. Not free to take your call. I raised my voice, almost shouting through the phone. Mister, I advise you to have some self-respect. Crystal White already has a boyfriend and you're still lingering like this. You're degrading yourself, you know that. After saying that, I hung up. If I was just a bit angry earlier, now I was truly furious. I immediately drove to Crystal White's company, daring to secretly find another man behind my back. She'd better be ready to pay the price. Past 9 in the evening, only the top floor of Crystal White's company was still lit. The other floors were completely dark. Downstairs, besides a security guard, there wasn't a soul in sight. When I arrived, the guard was a bit surprised. Mr. Farron, are you here to pick up Director White after work? I didn't answer. Went straight to the elevator heading to the top floor. The entire office building was very quiet. But when I reached the top floor, I clearly heard voices talking. I burst into Crystal White's office. Words of confrontation almost spilled out, but I saw her office filled with people. They seemed to be discussing something. At that moment, everyone turned to look at me in surprise, being stared at by over a dozen pairs of eyes. I instinctively swallowed. But among the crowd, I accurately spotted the man sitting in the corner. He looked out of place in this room. At that moment, he was wearing a coat, smiling brightly at me. Farron, why are you here? Seeing me arrive, Crystal White was very surprised. She immediately stood up from her chair and walked toward me, perhaps noticing I wasn't happy. Crystal White seemed a bit nervous, quickening her steps, but she was still a step too slow. The man in the corner suddenly rushed forward, stepping ahead of her, standing in front of me, even using his body to block the space between us. Mister, we're having a meeting. I hope you won't disturb us. And he smiled, gesturing for me to leave, clearly trying to shoo me out. I coldly glanced at him, ignoring him completely. Instead, I stepped past him, directing my gaze to Crystal White behind him. Do I need to leave? Of course, Crystal White didn't need to. With utmost agility, Crystal White slipped past the man and came straight to my side. She wanted to hold my hand, but I dodged her. Her expression clearly showed panic at my avoidance. She cautiously asked, Farron, what's wrong? Nothing, just continue your meeting. I replied coldly. Crystal White turned to look at the people in the office, quickly pulled me inside, intending for me to sit next to her. As we passed the man, I completely ignored him. Crystal White, who is this gentleman? The company is having a meeting right now. Isn't it inappropriate for him to be here? Being ignored, the man's expression wasn't great, but he still forced a smile, stepping forward to block my way. Crystal White stopped, frowning at the man, as if she had just noticed him. Caleb Strong, why are you still here? Crystal White, am having a meeting with you. Caleb Strong maintained his expression, speaking a bit awkwardly. What meeting are you having with me? The deputy director's assistant doesn't even need to attend tonight's meeting. You an assistant to the assistant, what are you doing here? Crystal White's tone was displeased. It didn't seem like she was pretending. So this man had been sitting in her office for so long, and Crystal White didn't even know. The others in the office seemed equally surprised, looking at the guy named Caleb Strong in astonishment. Crystal White, this entire building only has people in your office. I was scared outside, so I stayed in the office waiting for you. Caleb Strong's eyes shifted slightly. His aggrieved eyes looked at Crystal White. From Crystal White's tone, this man was an assistant to her assistant, and this guy kept mentioning Crystal White. I was waiting for you. It seemed their relationship wasn't ordinary. I crossed my arms, glancing at Crystal White lightly, sensing my gaze. Crystal White grew even more nervous. Farron, I have nothing to do with him. It was my mom who told me to arrange a job for him at the company. That's why I let him work here. After saying that, she turned back, coldly speaking to Caleb Strong. You said you were free after work today. That's why you took over the deputy director's assistant's tasks and got to stay at the company. Since you're staying at the company, do your job properly. Don't show up where you shouldn't. Her voice was cold, carrying a hint of impatience. She waved her hand, signaling Caleb Strong to leave. Caleb Strong didn't expect Crystal White to be so blunt and not give him face in front of everyone. He looked at Crystal White with resentment. 2 seconds later, he pointed at me angrily, saying, what about him? He's an outsider too. Why does he get to stay? Crystal White turned back, looking at him lightly, not bothering to explain, just coldly spitting out 2 words, get out. Those 2 words made Caleb Strong's face go pale. He turned and left the office. During the meeting just now, I didn't notice he stayed. Crystal White pulled me to sit next to her, explaining as she did. I nodded, signaling her to continue the meeting. The people in the company didn't show any surprise at my presence. After the meeting ended and everyone had left, I took out my phone, showing her the message from earlier. Explain. At this point, I wasn't angry anymore, but still spoke coldly. Crystal White looked at the content on the screen, her pupils shrinking. She reached out to touch my shoulder. Farron, wait a moment, I'll give you an explanation. After saying that, she stepped out of the office. I immediately followed and saw her quickly finding Caleb Strong and stepping in front of him, holding out her hand. Give me back my phone. Caleb Strong was clearly hurt by her cold expression. His body trembled slightly. He took Crystal White's phone from his pocket, holding it with both hands, offering it forward, his eyes both pitiful and carrying a hint of ambiguity. Crystal White quickly snatched the phone from his hands, taking back the phone and opening the block list. Her face darkened. This was the first time I saw her like this. A bit puzzled, I stepped forward to look. Good Lord, in the block list besides me, there were several other male accounts. Looking closely, they were all CEOs or project managers, collaborating with the company. How dare you touch my phone? I remember leaving it on the desk to charge. Crystal White must have been furious. When she spoke out of anger, she didn't control her volume at all. The department heads packing up to leave all poked their heads out at her voice. Caleb Strong's body trembled at her volume. His expression grew even more aggrieved. Crystal White, I just wanted to help you. I just wanted to help you. Help me go bankrupt. Crystal White was so angry she couldn't take it. Looking at the people in the block list, her hands shook with rage. I knew how hard it was for her to achieve what she has today, starting from scratch, to reach this position. Yet in one go, she blocked several CEOs and project managers. I was about to step forward to comfort her when my phone started ringing. As expected, it was the people Crystal White had blocked, and friends with green messages asking what happened. Some even jokingly checked my phone. People in the business world were polite in their words, but I knew they were questioning, so I glared at Caleb Strong. Still annoyed, I spoke to Crystal White. Handle it now. After saying that, I stepped aside, starting to reply to the messages from those friends. Thankfully, out of respect for our Farron family, They weren't truly angry. Plus, Crystal White's work ability was strong, and the company's overall strength was evident. After learning her phone was used without permission, they all expressed understanding, especially when they heard I was blocked too. Some even hesitantly reminded me to pay attention to the relationship between Crystal White and that man. After talking to everyone, my gaze darkened. Today's events. Even though Crystal White always stood by my side, she still hadn't given me a proper explanation. Taking a few deep breaths, forcing myself to suppress the anger in my heart, I returned to the main hall. Unexpectedly, this time there were two police officers in the hall. Crystal White was frowning, angrily saying something to them, and Caleb Strong was trembling, looking at Crystal White with disbelief. Crystal White, you called the police to arrest me. His voice was shaky. Seeing Crystal White ignore him, he turned to the two officers beside him, almost lunging forward, grabbing the arm of one officer. Officer, we're friends. I was just joking. We have a good relationship. You can't arrest me. The officer, startled, stepped back to steps, looking at Caleb Strong with a troubled expression. Mister, this matter isn't something you can brush off as a joke. You used her phone without permission and caused actual harm to her. The officer patiently explained, you're not friends, so there's no such thing as joking around. He's just a company employee. Crystal White spoke up irritably. Please, officers, investigate thoroughly. I suspect he came to my company to sabotage. Hearing this, Caleb Strong's face went as white as paper. He looked at Crystal White in fear. Seeing she didn't care, he finally couldn't hold back. Crystal White, I just felt you're not the same anymore. You have a boyfriend now. You should keep your distance from the men in those green messages. I just wanted to help you. Caleb Strong. Caleb Strong cleverly let a tear linger in the corner of his eye. Just one tear, not too pathetic, but particularly heart-wrenching. Too bad Crystal White was furious and didn't see that beautiful tear. His performance infuriated her. What do my friends list have to do with you? You even blocked my boyfriend first. You don't want to help me keep distance from men. You want me to be alone for life. After saying that, she was still not satisfied, pointing at an avatar in the block list. This CEO Jong is my father's age. Do you need to help me keep distance from him too? I'm your boss. You do what I tell you to do. Don't do things I didn't ask you to. Caleb Strong didn't expect Crystal White to be so blunt and not give him face in front of everyone. He looked at Crystal White with resentment, turned and left the office. This is the rule. Don't you have any basic professional ethics? She then spoke to the police. My phone has a lot of trade secrets. He, a new employee, stole my phone and caused damage to my company's assets. I hope you investigate thoroughly. I stood by watching in a daze. Originally just thinking about catching her cheating, ended up meeting a delusional guy. Even more unexpectedly, Crystal White directly called the police. This also reassured me about their relationship. Perhaps because I returned to Crystal White's side like this, it provoked this man. He suddenly broke free from the police's control, rushed straight to us, pointing at my nose, questioning Crystal White. What about him? Why can he come into the office? Why, when you have a boyfriend? Do you draw a line with me, but protect him everywhere? Is your head stuck in a door? Crystal White lost patience. You really can't tell he's my boyfriend. The word husband in my contacts, you didn't see it. Stop playing mind games with me. Caleb Strong was scolded to the point of hiding behind the police. It seemed he was truly scared of the police now. The police also understood what happened, but for now, Caleb Strong's actions had indeed caused losses to Crystal White. They first asked if it could be settled privately, but Crystal White firmly refused. You can't send that kind of message to my husband. Isn't that forcing me to stay single? I couldn't help but feel moved by Crystal White's refusal to settle. Caleb Strong was taken away. Before leaving, this man was still pitiful, standing in front of Crystal White, asking Crystal White, "I'm cold. Can I borrow this coat to wear outside?" Crystal White looked at the coat, lightly said, "It's not mine." At this moment, the design director, who had been watching the drama, finally jumped out from her office. Mine. I casually placed it on the chair next to Director White. Didn't expect you to take it by mistake. Give it back to me. Caleb Strong's face changed. Angrily tore off the coat, threw it into the design director's arms, and didn't forget to glare at me before leaving with the police. Seeing Caleb Strong leave, throwing that resentful look at me, I couldn't help but find it a bit funny. What's this? Provoking me only to land himself in jail. Later, Crystal White told me Caleb Strong was the son of her neighbor. 10 years ago, their family moved to the north. Recently, they returned. As soon as they came back, they visited her family. The two families had a good relationship before. Now that they were back, they reconnected. Hearing that Caleb Strong was looking for a job, they asked Crystal White to arrange a job for him at the company. Crystal White had almost forgotten this person. Who knew had caused trouble on his first day? I was a bit speechless. Teasingly said, another childhood sweetheart drama. Who knew Crystal White upon hearing this? Performed a scene for me on the spot. Do I deserve such a scheming childhood sweetheart? Since he was little, he caused trouble. Liked to act pitiful and blame me. In the end, had aggrievedly say it's all my fault. Crystal White mimicked Caleb Strong's demeanor. After saying that, her whole body shivered, as if trying to shake off goosebumps. In short, I never want to deal with him in this lifetime. This time, if it wasn't for my mom's request, I wouldn't have let him into the company. I heard that even though he went to the police station, Caleb Strong wasn't punished because he went to complain to Crystal's mom. Amid Crystal's mom's scolding, Crystal White eventually chose to settle privately. I thought Crystal White was being ruthless this time. He should know to back off. After all, his actions were truly foolish to the point of being unbearable. But unexpectedly, not long after, he added me on green messages again, and it was a business card introduction from Crystal White. The other side immediately sent me a photo. In the photo was a large round table, with quite a few people sitting around. I recognized only Crystal White's parents, and Crystal White. At that moment, Crystal White was sitting next to the photographer, smiling and serving food into the photographer's bowl, looking gentle and attentive. Farron, you don't really think Crystal White likes you, do you? She's always liked me. Today is the day we meet each other's parents to officially discuss our wedding date. Having experienced the previous incident, I didn't believe this man's words at all. The last message, if I hadn't immediately gone to confirm, and Crystal White hadn't called the police directly, that incident would definitely have become a thorn in our hearts. So the moment I saw the photo, I didn't feel the anger from before. I just casually called Crystal White. It took a while, probably finding a quiet place, before she answered my call. Farron, what's up? The woman's voice was cheerful. She seemed in a good mood. Where are you? Crystal White paused. Because of our mutual trust. I rarely asked so directly. At Bakviet eating with my parents. Caleb Strong is here too. Yeah, today both families are having dinner together. Crystal White answered naturally. No trace of guilt. I paused for a moment and said, check your green messages. So I sent her the photo Caleb Strong sent me along with his words, for her to see. Is he crazy? He's not even sitting next to me. It's my nephew next to me. Crystal White was clearly angry. She told me to wait a moment, hung up, and not long after, sent me a screenshot. The screenshot was from her little nephew's social circle. Both photos were taken by her nephew. Farron, you should come here too. We need to make this clear today. This Caleb Strong is insane. I hesitated a bit. Your two families are gathering. It might not be good for me to come. Why not? My parents like you a lot. Besides, if we don't clear this up facetto face today, Caleb Strong's constant harassment will affect our relationship. By the end, she was clearly panicked, but firmly said you have to come. I'll send a driver to pick you up. Thinking about Crystal White's words about settling this once and for all, I changed clothes and headed out. Bakviet wasn't far from my place, just 20 minutes away. As soon as I arrived, Crystal White came out to meet me. Her expression still showed anger. I quickly went to comfort her, patting her shoulder, but she was still aggrieved. Thank goodness you came to ask me. If you were like those novel protagonists, silently leaving. What would I do? I surrendered, blaming myself for this. In a comforting hug, Crystal White led me into their private room. As we entered, everyone in the room was talking and laughing. Seeing me appear, Crystal's parents were delighted. Quickly called the waiter to add a seat for me. Farron, come sit next to me. Crystal's dad was very happy. Told the waiter to place a chair next to him, which happened to be next to Crystal White. And next to Crystal White's seat was indeed a child not even 10 years old. Next to the child sat Caleb Strong. Seeing me enter, Caleb Strong was clearly stunned. His expression turned ugly. Crystal White, who is this? It's a gathering of our two families. Why bring an outsider? Sitting next to Caleb Strong was a man older, likely Caleb Strong's father. After seeing me sit down, he spoke in a sarcastic tone. Hearing this, Crystal's mom's expression changed. She gently patted the back of my hand, telling me to relax, then smiled and said, "He's not an outsider. This is my son-in-law, Farron Sawyer, Crystal White's boyfriend." The man gave an awkward smile, continuing to wait. What a strict guy. Crystal White eating with her parents, and you still chase after her. His words made me sound unreasonable. Controlling my girlfriend. As an elder, by right I should respect him, but some elders don't deserve respect. You're mistaken. Didn't your son say, "You're here today to discuss my girlfriend's marriage with him"? I can't let my girlfriend be taken advantage of, so I came to check. I smiled brightly, even provocatively raising an eyebrow at Caleb Strong. When I entered, Crystal White had said, "If you're wronged, don't hold back. Never let yourself be wronged." Hearing my words, Crystal's parents were surprised, looking at Caleb Strong, discussing marriage. Hearing me bring this up, Caleb Strong was clearly panicked. The glass of water by his hand was knocked over. Marriage, I don't know anything about that. Though his mouth said he didn't know, his nervous demeanor, anyone could see his guilt. Crystal's dad's face darkened. Caleb Strong. Crystal White's marriage with Farron. We'll handle it ourselves. You don't need to worry about this. Uncle, I really don't know what Mr. Farron is talking about. Caleb Strong was so anxious he stood up, hurriedly explaining, but his nervous demeanor quickly turned into grievance. He slightly bowed his head, his voice trembling uncontrollably. Uncle, I know last time I meant well but messed up, making Mr. Farron prejudiced against me. But Mr. Farron doesn't need to slander me like this. He even faked a couple of sobs. Yes, last time our Caleb Strong. Didn't he already explain clearly? It was all a misunderstanding. He was just worried. Crystal White didn't keep her distance from other men. That's why he made her boyfriend angry and did that. Caleb Strong's mom hurriedly stepped in, hugging Caleb Strong in her arms, then glared at me. Mr. Farron, you came uninvited, fine, but targeting our Caleb Strong as soon as you arrive, what's that supposed to mean? Caleb Strong grew up with Crystal White. If he really wanted to compete with you, do you think you'd have a chance? I had already seen. Caleb Strong's mom wasn't ordinary, but I didn't expect her to say such things. But the biggest reaction came from Crystal White. She almost jumped up, stepping in front of me. And Farron didn't come uninvited. He's my boyfriend, I asked him to come. As for me and Caleb Strong, we've never had anything. I've never liked him. Between me and my boyfriend, there's never been anything about Caleb Strong. Her words left the other side with no face. The entire Strong family's faces darkened. Caleb Strong lifted his head from his mom's arms, glancing at Crystal White. That glance was extremely skillful, grieved and wronged, like a man abandoned by a heartless woman. The atmosphere in the private room grew even more awkward. What's this about? We're all here to eat together. Why make a fuss? Caleb Strong's mom quickly stood up, pushed Caleb Strong and her husband back to their seats, then said, "Since we're gathered, let's be happy. No need to make things unpleasant." She even raised her glass to clink with Crystal's mom. Crystal's mom hadn't spoken the whole time, but her expression was clearly unhappy. Still, she raised her glass to clink with her, since it had come to this. Crystal White and I didn't plan to say much. After all the necessary words, Crystal White had already made clear. Who knew what we decided to let it go? The other side wasn't willing to. Originally because of what just happened. The meal was eaten in great awkwardness. At the table, the only one eating happily was Crystal White's nephew. Unexpectedly, not long after the atmosphere eased, Caleb Strong's dad suddenly laughed and shook his head. Crystal White and Caleb Strong have grown so big. I still remember when they were little playing together, talking about their childhood. Crystal's parents' expressions softened a lot. They couldn't help but sigh about how fast time flies. But unexpectedly, the man's next sentence was, "I still remember. Back then the two of them were betrothed as kids." Crystal White said when she grew up, she wanted to marry Caleb Strong. After saying that, he seemed to realize he said something wrong and told me, "Mr. Farron, don't mind. I was just recalling the kid's childhood. There's no such thing as childhood betrothals anymore. We all know it won't affect you." I couldn't help but sneer, saying it doesn't affect us, yet constantly mentioning childhood betrothals. Crystal White immediately got upset. "Uncle, you must be remembering wrong. I never said I wanted to marry him." Talking about this, Crystal White was even a bit aggrieved because of this. "When I was little, the good stuff my parents gave me was always taken by you for Caleb Strong." I almost burst out laughing, and the smile on Caleb Strong's dad's face froze completely. It took a while for him to react. He was about to speak when Crystal's dad spoke up. "The childhood betrothal. There was indeed such a thing." Crystal White couldn't believe it, turning to look at her own father, irritated, saying, "Dad, what are you talking about? Who knew Crystal's dad didn't care about her?" And continued smiling, saying, "But back then it was your family who kept saying the two kids were compatible and could be betrothed as kids. Our family never agreed." Crystal White nodded repeatedly, turning to look at me. "Farron, I told you, I have nothing to do with him." Caleb Strong's tears streamed down. He looked at Crystal's dad. "Uncle, don't you like me anymore? You used to say you really liked me and agreed to let me be your son-in-law." Before, he kept saying it wouldn't affect my relationship with Crystal White. Now he's saying he wants to be their son-in-law. This man truly has no shame. Crystal's dad still smiled. He lifted the glass of water in front of him and took a sip, then pulled my hand. "Indeed, I said that. But that was just me agreeing. It doesn't mean Crystal White agreed. Now Crystal White has chosen Farron, so my son-in-law is Farron." His words were like a slap, hitting the entire Strong family in the face. Caleb Strong's parents were a bit indignant, still wanting to argue. "Mr. Strong, the kids' relationships aren't something we parents should interfere with. Crystal White and Farron are great together. We also really like Farron." He then glanced at Caleb Strong. "We watched Caleb Strong grow up too. He's a good kid, but he's really not suitable for Crystal White. Later, I'll introduce someone better for him," saying that he raised his glass, drinking in front of Caleb Strong's dad. Caleb Strong's dad had no choice and could only reluctantly drink along. Clearly, he didn't dare offend Crystal's dad. Even Caleb Strong's mom didn't dare keep pushing, obediently sitting in place with an awkward smile. As for Caleb Strong, his eyes stared at Crystal White, questioning Crystal White. "You really don't like me? I don't believe it." Crystal White directly shocked me. "I just don't like you. What's there not to believe? If you don't like me, why did you help me so much when we were kids? When the chubby kid at my desk stole my stuff, you helped me get it back. That's because if I didn't help you, you go home crying to your dad saying I saw you being bullied at school and didn't help. Your dad would tell my dad, and my dad would nag me. You don't know how much it hurt to fight that chubby kid. I didn't even want to fight him." Crystal White was furious. Caleb Strong didn't expect this, looking at Crystal White in disbelief, but still not giving up. "Then in 7th grade, when a girl wrote me a love letter, why did you beat her up?" I was surprised, turning to look at Crystal White. Crystal White quickly grabbed my hand, and even angrier said, "You rejected that girl, saying you liked me. That girl came to fight me. I didn't even want to fight her. She broke one of my ribs." Honestly, I felt a bit embarrassed for Caleb Strong. Who knew Caleb Strong still wouldn't give up? Then this time when I came back, why did you, without a word, arrange for me to work at your company and let me be your assistant? I heard I'm the only assistant who got parachuted into your company. Crystal White directly held her forehead. That's because you went to tell my mom you hadn't found a suitable job. My mom was kind and let you into my company, and you're not my assistant. You're the assistant to the deputy director's assistant. I originally arranged an idle position for you. The purpose was to not let you affect my work, but you almost made me lose several clients. The more she said, the angrier she got. Finally, she directly said, Caleb Strong, can you just get out of my life? In the end, Caleb Strong ran out crying. After the gathering, I felt a bit awkward looking at Crystal's parents, embarrassingly saying uncle and sorry. I ruined everyone's gathering. But Crystal's dad shook his head, no worries. I even have to thank you for helping us see that kid's true face. He used to be pretty good, how did he become like this? Crystal White muttered beside me. He wasn't even that good before. I couldn't help but find it a bit funny. Confirming Crystal's parents weren't upset about today, I felt much more at ease. For a long time after that, I didn't see Caleb Strong again, but his status kept appearing in my social circle. Every day it was melancholic posts, so sappy they made my teeth ache. Occasionally had post photos of him and Crystal White as kids, suddenly reminiscing about the past. I saved the photos, only cropping out Crystal White's part. The little girl was quite cute, pretty as a jade, not like the tough woman she is now. I knew he posted them for me to see, but I didn't respond and he couldn't do anything. Just didn't expect that not long after, he became an internet celebrity because he's good looking and then can dance hip-hop. Every day in his social circle besides sappy posts, headcheer highlight clips from his live streams, along with fans' encouragement. It seemed he was really determined to build a career. Crystal White and I were quite pleased. Since his last stunt, Crystal's parents felt our marriage should be settled soon. Less stray cats and dogs keep coming around. My parents were also very satisfied with Crystal White, so they had no objections. So under Crystal White's urging, at lightning speed, we set the date for our engagement. The whole family was busy. Only one was concerned about whether the food at the engagement would be good. Everything was clearly going smoothly. The problem was a few days before the engagement, the internet started spreading news about a listed company CEO abandoning her childhood sweetheart boyfriend to get engaged to a third party. My name and Crystal White's, in the form of Ms. White and Mr. Farron, were plastered at the top. Photos of both of us were all over the internet. Society nowadays really hates third parties, especially me labeled as the third party who cut in. I got cursed out badly. Even my rebellious teenage quotes were dug up. I was stunned when I learned about this. Crystal White immediately called me Farron. Don't worry, I'll handle this well. It won't affect our engagement. Don't look at online comments and let it affect your mood. I knew she was worried about me. I said okay, telling her not to worry, and started investigating myself. The childhood sweetheart was clearly Caleb Strong, so Caleb Strong spread the rumor online. But investigating, I felt a bit powerless. This guy was now a small-time internet celebrity. He didn't publicly claim he was Crystal White's childhood sweetheart boyfriend. Just in last night's livestream, he kept messing up. His eyes red. People in the livestream room saw he wasn't okay and asked about his situation. He lightly wiped a tear from the corner of his eye, pretending to be strong, saying it's fine. Just that his ex-girlfriend, who just broke up, is getting engaged. Feeling a bit upset. But it's okay, my dears. It'll get stronger and stronger. His fans couldn't stand it. Their idol was wrong. So the righteous fans started searching for the third party. Caleb Strong didn't say anything, but they still found Crystal White's info from Caleb Strong's recent social circle and traces on his social media accounts. Naturally, they found my info too. At first, it only spread among Caleb Strong's fans, but because of her status as the CEO of a listed company, it drew more attention, causing Crystal White's company stock to plummet. The problem now was All of this Caleb Strong, never openly slandered online. Every word he said didn't directly point to me. It was all found by his fans. He only, when fans got agitated, wiped his tears and told them to stop, not to disturb others' lives. Everything had nothing to do with him. This made it very difficult for us to directly sue him legally, so this issue was really not easy to resolve. Crystal White first had the company post a clarification statement, but it had no effect. Netizens only believe what they want to believe. Recently, seeing Crystal White extremely anxious, still having to care about my situation, squeezing out some time made me feel a bit sorry. Moreover, the company was Crystal White's hard-earned achievement. To end up like this because of this, she must be very upset. But soon things took a turn. Someone released a video from when we ate at Bok Viet's private room. The video was a bit shaky and unstable, but you could clearly tell who was speaking. In the video, Crystal White clearly said she never liked Caleb Strong, especially when Caleb Strong cried asking about the good things Crystal White did for him. And Crystal White's rebuttal, it wasn't like that. So there was no third party at all. My gosh, this director White was so pitiful as a kid. The Strong family really exploited director White since childhood. Director White is truly a rare good person. How annoying I even cursed director White and her boyfriend because of Caleb Strong's crying. In the video you could see Caleb Strong constantly provoking director White's boyfriend, saying the gathering was to discuss marriage. Caleb Strong is truly shameless. Instantly, Caleb Strong was criticized online. His comment section was completely overrun. He was so scared he deleted several of his pity party videos and set them to private. Didn't expect someone recorded a video that day. I quickly called Crystal White to ask what happened. On the other end, she laughed with some pride. Thanks to my nephew, the kid sitting next to you. That day, because of the Strong family, I didn't get to talk properly with him. He said when you entered the room, and everyone's expressions changed. He knew they'd cause trouble. His habit of recording live with his phone turned out to be really useful. I thought for a moment before realizing, a kid that young, how could he be so clever about this? Crystal White disagreed. Don't underestimate kids. They're very smart. This time, thanks to him, we turned the tide. As soon as the online sentiment shifted, the Strong side couldn't take it. He was desperately trying to cool down the search trends, but the backlash was too big. It couldn't be suppressed. I heard his mom personally went to Crystal White's house to apologize, but was kicked out by Crystal. Crystal's mom pointed at her nose and scolded the Strong family. You really think I'm a fool? For the sake of old ties, you said you wanted to come back to develop. I helped you like this, and your family treats my daughter like that. Caleb Strong's mom wanted to explain, but only got a single word scram. Unexpectedly, in desperation, he came to find me. He asked to meet me at a cafe, thinking we needed closure. I went. In the cafe, the man looked haggard. Sorry about the online stuff. I apologize to you. As soon as I sat down, he stood up and bowed to me, his eyes slightly red, looking like he was sincerely apologizing. I smiled and said nothing. Not getting a response from me, he stood awkwardly for a moment before sitting down. I came today to apologize. Also, I just don't want you to be deceived. Do you really believe what Crystal White said? That she's never had anything to do with me? Saying that he took out a stack of photos. All photos I'd never seen before. In the photos, two kids held hands, smiling brightly at the camera. There was even one where the boy leaned over to kiss the girl's cheek. Both were laughing. I didn't post these photos. Just didn't want to hurt you. You can see how close we were in the photos. It's just that she won't admit it now. Caleb Strong's expression was gloomy, endlessly sorrowful. I looked through all the photos. The more I looked, the angrier I got. They were full of intimate childhood gestures. Finally, I couldn't help but throw the stack of photos on the table. Caleb Strong, do you think I'm an idiot? Caleb Strong looked up seriously, staring at me, seemingly not expecting me to say that. Using photos from when you were a few years old to drive a wedge between us. You were both kids, what did you know? I looked at him speechless. But we were really close as kids. We were childhood sweethearts. And what she told you, that she never liked me, is completely different. Don't you see she's lying to you, saying that he looked at me with some anger. I'm helping you. This time I was genuinely amused. Caleb Strong, stop with these obvious tricks everyone can see through. Alright. Saying that I pointed at the boy at the next table. He kept holding his phone like he was taking selfies, but his eyes were fixed on us. Let me guess. Your online reputation has been bad lately, so you wanted to meet me, expose my girlfriend's lies, get me to record a video with you, have your friend record this scene, then you post it online, push everything onto Crystal White, saying we were both deceived by her. Right. Caleb Strong's eyes widened, looking at me in disbelief. How did you know? I sneered. If you used your brain a little, you wouldn't be this stupid. Those photos of yours have no effect on me. Do you want to see photos of me with my neighbor's sister as a kid? Saying that I walked to the boy at the next table. At this point, he was so nervous he was sweating. I looked at his screen nice, still live streaming the screen, full of comments cursing Caleb Strong's, scheming praising my intelligence. My gosh, I didn't understand at first. Didn't expect Caleb Strong to be this calculating. Sorry. I really thought Caleb Strong was helping Farron. How does Caleb Strong still have the face to show up? First time seeing someone this shameless. The boy saw the comments getting out of control, hurriedly turned off the live stream. At that moment, a figure rushed into the cafe. Crystal White practically charged in. Seeing me, she immediately hugged me. You absolutely can't believe him. Those photos were all coerced by his mom for us to take. Back then, I didn't know anything. I didn't understand. She hurriedly explained a bit incoherent, probably having seen the live stream, but not the later part. I nodded, kissing her lips. Relax, I don't believe a word he says. After the kiss, Crystal White finally calmed down. Her face went from initial fear to a sweet smile. But when she turned and saw Caleb Strong, her expression darkened again. Caleb Strong, you still dared to drive a wedge between us. Don't blame me for not giving you face. Saying that she didn't even look at him, pulled me straight out, completely ignoring Caleb Strong's crying attempts to stop her. After that, Crystal White had the company post another statement. This time, no mercy, exposing everything Caleb Strong did, all made public. Even the previous incident of stealing her phone and ending up in the police station. About this, Crystal's dad specially apologized to me, saying when he got the call from the Strong family, he thought Caleb Strong really meant well, but accidentally messed up and was taken to the police station by Crystal White. So he asked Crystal White to settle privately and let him go. In the end, this stern-looking father said a bit embarrassedly, Farron, rest assured you're the son-in-law we've chosen. We won't let anyone bully you, the Strong family. We won't deal with them anymore. He even worriedly said, if you're wronged in the future, speak up like you did today. We'll stand up for you. Never bear the grievance alone. In the end, he left feeling sorry, saying it wasn't easy for Crystal White to find a husband. About this, my future father-in-law, Crystal's dad, was very satisfied. He said ever since Crystal White showed him those novels, the old man has been paying more attention to me. The engagement day came quickly. Since it was just an engagement, we didn't invite too many people, just family, a few tables. But unexpectedly, when my parents and I arrived at the hotel, we were scammed. The scammer was none other than Caleb Strong, recently roasted online. In the end, he posted an apology video I didn't want, but heard many say his apology was like acting, not recognizing his mistakes, only blaming Crystal White, saying Crystal White made him misunderstand. In the end, he got cursed out and quit the internet, but didn't expect him to show up in front of my car. Getting out, I saw Caleb Strong lying on the ground. At this moment, his face was pale, looking extremely haggard, seeing me like seeing an enemy, but still suppressing his anger. Farron, can you spare our family? I was stunned. Spare whose family? Stop pretending it's all because of you. Now the White family is targeting our family everywhere. Our business can't go on anymore. Because of you, our family is about to go bankrupt. How can you be so vicious? He cried very sorrowfully. This time no delicate, Publiciminther vibe, crying with snot and tears all over his face, attracting onlookers around. Some even filmed with their phones. His appearance looked like I'd hit and injured him. I asked coldly, are you getting up? Unless you make the White family spare us and let Crystal White invest in our family. Otherwise, I won't get up and you won't get engaged today. This time he didn't talk about love anymore, just wholeheartedly wanting to help his family. But the White family targeting the Strong family, I didn't know anything about. I never asked about these things. As I frowned, about to call Crystal White, my mom got out of the car. Mom, why did you get out? My mom shook her head, walked to Caleb Strong. Her face still carried a kind smile. But her words were, your Strong family going bankrupt has nothing to do with the White family. Caleb Strong looked at my mom in surprise, clearly not knowing who she was. My mom continued smiling, saying, your Strong family moved to the north to develop. The first 2 years were fine, but then because your dad was bad at business, you lost all your capital long ago. Struggled to hold on for a few years. Couldn't make it, so you came back here. After coming back, to try to recover, you targeted the White family, and the White family, for the sake of old ties, helped you a lot. But you were greedy, so you targeted Crystal White. While knowing full well she was with you still kept trying to seduce her and ruin their relationship. No, I really like Crystal White. We were childhood sweethearts. Caleb Strong shouted, shaking his head, his eyes full of panic. But my mom didn't stop and continued, you'd better get out of the way today. Otherwise, if the Northeast Ma family UDC learns your current situation, guess if they'll come looking for you. Guess who will protect your Strong family then? My mom was truly a seasoned player. When she spoke, her aura was overwhelming. A young guy couldn't handle it. He practically crawled to the side, hurriedly saying, don't tell them, don't tell them. Then you'd better not delay my son's engagement, my mom said, lightly pulling me back to the car. In the car, I curiously asked my mom, how did you know about their situation? My mom sneered, my son was bullied. Would I really do nothing? She then gave me a reproachful look. In the future, tell me about these things early. After I nodded repeatedly, promising, she told me. Turns out when the internet was in an uproar, my mom didn't rush to handle the online stuff, but investigated the Strong family, found out the Strong family had gone bankrupt in the North long ago, and offended quite a few people, the biggest being the Ma family. Now the Ma family had other matters to deal with. Once they're done, they'll come for them sooner or later. The family's here. After hearing the news my mom spread, who would dare deal with them? The scam was resolved very smoothly. The engagement went extremely well, but even after the engagement, Crystal White was still nervous every day, always feeling that until we were married, she wouldn't be at ease. Recently, she read some Chasifter-wife tragedy novels. Every few days, she'd drag me for health checkups, afraid I'd be like the tragic novel protagonists, getting cancer or something. I smacked this girl's head. Can you think something good for me? Crystal White shyly touched her head. Okay, you'll definitely be fine. My husband will live to 100. The next time I saw Caleb Strong was at a business gala. Crystal White for business was chatting with a few CEOs. I got bored and was about to find a place to sit, but unexpectedly ran into Caleb Strong. At this point, he was dressed sharply, but you could clearly feel his weariness. Seeing me, he was clearly stunned too. I could see the anger in his eyes after spotting me, but this time he didn't rush up to cause trouble with me. Instead, seeing me sit opposite, he hurriedly stood up to leave, feeling a bit strange. I saw a chubby woman about 50 years old walking toward him. After seeing her, Caleb Strong was extremely nervous. Even though he was careful, he was still pinched hard on the arm by the woman and dragged aside. That someone from the Ma family, Crystal White, appeared beside me at some point. Remembering what my mom mentioned about the Ma family, it seems they really came looking. I don't know how much my mom helped in this. Caleb Strong became a live-in son-in-law for the Ma family. She shook her head. The Ma family didn't need that. When the Ma family lent money, they were already prepared. Now that money turned into financial embezzlement. Caleb Strong's dad has been arrested. Caleb Strong, for survival, follows Ma Dongmei without status. In short, his days aren't easy. Hearing this, I glanced at Caleb Strong again. Sure enough, saw Ma Dongmei pushing Caleb Strong to toast. People really shouldn't be greedy. Like me, am never greedy. Crystal White likes reading those silly novels. And I don't even criticize her. The story ends here. Everyone please like, please follow. I'll keep updating novels and comics.